for us it was great to be able to bank on our set piece. I think our set piece was much improved. We lost the line out, but our scrum was very strong. And our defence as well. I think we probably only had about a third of the ball in the first half, in the game really. So, and territory-wise, we weren't dominant territory-wise either. And so, in the first half, maybe we slipped off 4 or 5 tackles, but a lot of effective tackles, a lot of guys connecting up and doing a really good job. So from that perspective, there was some positives.
Did a couple of individuals make your squad selection for the World Cup a little bit more difficult?
Look, as I said, we'll go back and have a look at it, and certainly we'll be as forensic as we can in looking back and then discussing it as coaches over the next kind of day and a bit really. We'll have a look this evening. We'll get together tomorrow afternoon, evening, and also we've kind of got a little bit of time on Monday morning before we have to make some decisions.
Joe, at the moment, any casualties? No casualties hopefully?
Not from today, no. Just a few guys. A few of the replacements really was. I talked to Gats a couple of weeks ago. We were very conscious of trying to make sure we provided an opportunity for each other to get some game time for some players, and so there were some preconceived replacement timings, and it kind of worked out reasonably well for us. So we're reasonably happy from that perspective. A couple of guys had cramp in that second half, but no injury.
You know, from the individuals, in terms of the collective, in terms of the attitude of the team, the physicality of the team, is that more what you want to see over the next couple of weeks?
I think it's what they want to feel. They want to feel that they're up for it. They want to feel that they've got energy reserves, and as I said, I knew we were heavy-legged last week, and I know that we created a lot of angst for people outside the environment. We knew how hard we'd worked in Portugal. We knew that we would be a bit vulnerable, but as I said during the week, it was still unacceptable to fall off. The number of tackles we did, and to be as far behind the game as we were. So I think we restored a bit of self-confidence this week as much as anything, and we've got to make sure we build on that again. There'll be a number of changes next week. Again, talking to Gats, those changes will happen, and it'll be a whole different contest again.
You spoke on TV about restoring a little bit of pride. Is that something you can now build on over the next couple of weeks in Barcelona?
Yeah, it is. It's a difficult place to come and play and get a performance and a win like that. And as Joe alluded to, from a player's point of view, certainly was a long week. Guys were itching to get back out there. The guys who got an opportunity, and we left the jersey in a better place certainly than last week.
What went in during the week to getting the line out back on track? Was it going back to basics? What exactly was the mindset?
We had a good look at our line out, and there was things in our control that unfortunately we didn't control last week, and that was certainly disappointing. There's factors you can't control on the opposition, but the things that we could control we didn't. And I thought our certainly our process this week was a lot better. And a week is a long time in rugby, and we knew we had to put a performance in this week. We knew we had to represent the jersey in certainly a lot of better fashion than we did last week, and I thought that came through today.
A big day for Will Allison. Are you pleased with how he performed today?
Yeah, he did some things really well. Obviously, he got that cut that's superficial. He came back on. He just had a little bit of cramp, and because he hadn't played for so long, we decided to take him off just to make sure that he didn't develop any injury as a result of that calf cramping up. He has such a balanced running style. He gets a good look at the pitch, running back from fullback. He's accomplished kicking. He's accomplished kicking goals as well, so he's a good backup to have from that perspective. but he's underdone. He hasn't had as much rugby as we would have liked him to have gotten. He didn't play really a lot all year up until today. So he was missing right through the Six Nations. But his versatility is a huge strength for him. The fact that he can genuinely play on the wing, he's got high speed, and obviously he stepped in very late to play at 13 for us against Argentina. So he's now probably covered the full spectrum of the back 3 and 13, which is an asset when you're trying to narrow a squad down. And we'll be looking at him and comparing a few other guys and seeing who best fits the mould. And I can tell you now, I'm not sure myself, just because we need to have a look back, and then we need to see what our balance is. And it's and whatever you do, there's always a risk you don't quite get it right. I don't think we quite get it right last time. And sometimes retrospect is the only time you actually know did I get that right or not, because going forward you're predicting as best you can, you're trying to do as much work as you can to ensure that they're in the right physical condition, that they're ready to go, but you don't really know until you get out there and you're in the thick of it, really.
Joe, is it fair to say that given the depth that you've built, you're going to be leaving some quality players behind?
Yeah, I think it's a horrible couple of days. It's probably the worst couple of days that I've had in coaching. This time 4 years ago, and I know how hard these players are working. I know how good they are, and how hard they've worked for a number of years, because this is the pinnacle. This is what they wanted to go after. This is what we talked about last Christmas as being very much a sole focus of the year. And for those players who miss out, it's going to be a real body blow. And I'm incredibly conscious of that. And I sympathise with it, but you can only take 31, and that's the brutality of it, really.
Joe, you've given Jack Hartley 3 games now, a full 80 minutes today as well. Has he done enough to make himself a front runner now to go in the squad?
He's done well, yeah. And so it's apples, oranges, and lemons, really, isn't it? You've got a number of different 10 options, and one of them hasn't played yet, but we all know he's going to play next week and he'll go. And then there's another one who had, I thought, 50 superb minutes against Italy and is currently injured, but might be back on the bench next week, or certainly will be back for Scotland. And Jack has done incredibly well. And Ross, I thought, was really unlucky. He got all the tired legs in his opportunity, and he didn't get the front foot ball or probably the time and space that Jack got today. Jack made the most of it. Jack did really well, and so he actually did really well when he came on here in the Six Nations. Even in that little cameo that he played, I thought he was superb. His little grubber kick through for Jacob Stockdale that created the line break that led to our try, albeit when the game was lost. He's a creative player, Jack, and a good instinctive player.
Peter,
Take the last couple, lads.
Peter, the were 5 Munster players just happened to be playing today, but the front row is an actual unit. Is it possible that we're looking at something maybe that some of the parts are higher than the actual parts? It was a very good performance the first half. The penalties at the scrums. Is there a possibility that we're seeing something emerging there?
Look, I was in the middle of it. It's hard to kind of compute all those things when you're in the kind of cold phase of it. So.
Did you notice anything during the year, maybe that front row was beginning to become a bit of a powerhouse?
Look, we spoke, obviously our set piece, was under pressure last week, and there was definitely an improvement. But as Joe said already, we'll go back and have a look at it and do our normal process of going back and have a look. But we spoke certainly from a forwards pack point of view of putting a performance in, and I thought across the 8. across the 15 and the subs, I thought there was a much step. The boys did fine.
How did you feel the two loose head drops in particular with Andrew having obviously fit back over?
Yeah. Obviously, Dave Kilcoyne did well. He got a bit of space in the middle of the pitch, but to be fair to say, he made a bit of space in the middle of the pitch as well. He punched through a couple of tackles and again gave us a little bit of a front foot to play off, which is important. I thought he got off the line and tackled well as well. He definitely puts his body on the line. And I thought Andrew Porter, he came on, and those scrums down on the line, that pressure that he applied, especially, Andrew hasn't really had that much even training time at loose head, so for him to switch across and do such a good job, as much as this week he had been fully focused on playing loose head, we obviously had John Ryan and Ty Field on the tight head, so he was fully focused on playing loose head. But to focus on it and to fully physically deliver as he did, I thought he was really good as well. I thought he was on the ball a couple of times defensively as well. Did really well getting over the ball. I think it's a strength in the way that he plays, and that he is good in those post-tackle situations. So, that's another string to his bow that is very handy to have when you're trying to make sure that you get the ball back or you get pressure on opposition. Ruck, tackle, post-tackle ball.
Take last one.
Joe, you kind of hinted that Johnny Saxon will play next week. Will Robbie Henshaw get time next week?
Yeah, it's very likely that both those guys will play. We'll have a bit of a look. I'm not sure, with Robbie where he'll play, but he trained the house down, Thursday, Friday. So he's in good shape. Johnny trained really well Friday. He was very competitive and training well, So when those two didn't play against England, we actually had lined up a few other opportunities today, and they're both players who don't need a whole lot of game time to hit their straps. They both have come back into sides and played really well without having too much time under their belt. So we're looking forward to putting them back into the mix, and at the same time there's some guys who've been in the mix thus far, particularly obviously you said Jack today, but I thought Bundy, Chris, Gary Ringrose on the wing today, they've all put their hands up and done a good job as well.